Hello and welcome everyone to this talk, our, as we call it, big name talk today at the Under 30 meetup. We have Aksel Lund Svindal. We're quite excited to have him today. For those of you who don't know him, if there are any, he's a heavily decorated athlete, former pro skier. He won the Olympic gold medals twice. He was a world champion. He won the crystal ball. He's the record holder in Norway for most skiing races won. So one of the most successful skiers actually alive. And now, after ending his career, he's sort of readjusted to a different life. He's still skiing in his leisure time, but he's also investing in startups. He's a brand ambassador of Porsche. They are sponsors of today's event. So I'm quite excited to talk to him about how life after skiing is for him, what his investment hypothesis is when investing in startups, and generally how life after a pro career looks. Aksel, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time.
Thanks for having me, and thank you for a very nice intro.
I already said it before we go into more the nitty-gritty details of what you do today. After committing to such a schedule for so long, to the training sessions, not only the World Cup season, but also in the summertime, how have you adjusted to a different life, a different schedule? Do you enjoy it? Do you miss skiing? What's your emotional state at the moment?
Well, I mean, I hope my emotional state is good, but I think I also can confirm that, because if you've done something for a really long time, then of course you miss it, right? I wouldn't have been a ski racer or an athlete for as long as I have if I didn't really enjoy it. Not just the sport itself, but the whole, being with other athletes and the team feeling and everything. But then when there's a time for everything, and it was for me time to stop doing that part and then look to something else. So I'm still very happy with the decision, and I can still watch the World Cup races and really enjoy them instead of being, pissed so that I can't take part. So definitely happy with that transition.
Maybe drawing the parallel to building a startup and then exiting or doing something different or leaving. How much time did you take, a set period of time after you ended your career, to just think and reflect and see what happens, or did you jump right into the next project? How much in between was there?
There was very little in between, because I was the last, I would say, 3-4 years of my active career, I suffered 3 injuries actually in 4 years. So I had a lot of time on crutches and doing rehab training. And then that's for your mind, it's a lot harder to stand on top of a downhill race and really prepare to take that risk. And rehab training is a lot of hours, but it's very repetitive. For your mind, it's not very hard. It's basically someone telling you what to do, and then do this for 4 weeks, and then we'll do another checkup. So I think I was mentally already half into a new life and half into the athlete life for the last couple of years. Meaning, and when I was training skiing and when I was racing, of course I was a 100% racer, but I had so much other activities going on. I was starting to build more of a network outside of sports. So it was very natural for me to jump straight on that when I left the last World Cup or actually World Championship race, and I was a retired athlete. From one day to the next, it's kind of a big step, but I think the step was fairly easy for me because I already had a lot of things going.
When did you decide? Was this already during your career? You said you had the time to think during your rehab sessions that maybe venture capital investing might be something you're interested in. Did it happen by accident because you met someone? How did it start for you as an investor?
A little bit by accident. I think most things are, at least for me, are about the people. And you can also, you read books and it's all good, but when you meet people, I think that's really when you get that spark going, that you see that this is something I want to do. And if you go all the way back, I did a lot of the work myself when it comes to contract negotiations and let's say the business part of being an athlete. So I have a dad who's an accountant who could help me a bit. So that was like a beginning. And then you make some money out of contracts, and then it's, you always learn better if it's like, you have skin in the game, right? So I started investing that money a little bit, like kind of, buy like funds with, that are maybe like a global index fund, something that's like super safe in the beginning. And then, but I'm not that good at reading numbers and looking at charts, and probably not good at it because I think it's a little boring and I don't spend enough time doing it. So I like people a lot more. And then I started getting introduced to companies that were small enough that I could actually, I could know the people, and it went from there to, I was sitting on the board. This was sports related, but there was one person on the board that I just realized when he took a completely different background from what I have, and the way his mind worked was really different. And I thought to me, he was basically the smartest guy on that board, even though maybe everyone didn't recognize it. And he had just exited software company, and this is the first guy that I got to know from a total different world. So I kind of like grabbed onto him and said, if you ever start something again, then let me be a part of it somehow. More as a learning process than a big shareholder, but that was my first seed investment. And then I guess I enjoyed that environment so much that I did a lot of those investments the next few years. I guess the most grown-up thing, if I can use that word, that I feel that I'm doing right now is that I'm the chairman of the board of a company that got listed last year, the end of last year, so about a year ago.
Which company?
It's called Airthings. So it's hardware and software for indoor air monitoring. Started with the radon gas, where they're world leading, and then venture out into basically indoor air quality in general, which has been cool as well because
pretty good timing, right?
Yeah, exactly, with COVID as well, because we are in people's homes. We're also in public places, but in people's homes, we could definitely see the difference when people started doing a lot of home office. That was one thing, but also in more public places. With all the alcohol you use when you start, during the pandemic, to clean, or different chemicals to clean, to really make sure that it's, in kindergartens and schools and hospitals. We also measured that there was a big increase in gases in the air, and there are a couple of regions in Norway where they actually started having a lot of people stay at home with the headaches and stuff that they didn't have before, and we could put this, collect the data and put this together and see the reasons for it. So yeah, good timing for a sad reason.
So you already said that the first touch point into this new world was this smart guy, this smart founder, the smart entrepreneur. When you look at companies you might be interested in investing, is that what you look for? Extraordinary founders, or are you looking at specific industries? Are you looking at specific types of business models? Is there sort of an idea behind your investing, or is it just coincidences and you pick the people you think can make it happen?
I think, in the beginning it was all about the people in the team, right? Because let's put it this way, just to put it super simple. I have no formal education whatsoever. Basically, I went to high school, and after that I didn't have time for any more school. Yeah. So if I have to team up with others, if you're going to do like a technical due diligence or stuff like that. So in the beginning, I didn't have those connections, and then it was all people, founder, team, like who do I believe in here? But of course, you kind of, you want to, your product or your service basically has to deliver on something that's future proof in a way. If you have, there's some things right now where there's just gravity is pulling in that direction. It's not the right time to invest in, let's say, dark brown industries, and it's basically is a much better time because it also feels a lot better to invest in things that's better for people on the planet. So some major trends like that, also because it feels like the right thing to do. But except for that, it's for me, it's about the team.
We're unfortunately running out of time. I have a final question for you. one could say that founding a startup and building it and scaling it is not unlike sort of a pro athlete career. You focus on this one thing, all your energy goes into it. You make sacrifices, be it physically or mentally. What's sort of from your experience, a piece of advice for founders who sometimes are struggling, are desperate, don't know if they should continue? Maybe what can you give them?
Yeah, the start of your question is basically taps right into the beginning of this conversation. Why did I end up doing this? And I think that's because I see the similarities between being an athlete and being a founder, because it's not like a 9 to 5 kind of thing. It's a lifestyle where you're thinking about this 24/7. Which hopefully is a good thing because you're so passionate about it that gives you energy, right? And that's also, I think, a good starting point for a founder is that, if this is something you truly want to do and this is something you really believe in and you're passionate about, then, work is not a negative thing. Work should be a fun thing, right? And then if you're so passionate about your work that you're constantly thinking about it, then it's almost a gift. Like for an athlete, you're so passionate about your sport that you're living, every second, everything you do. It's when you take that one glass of wine with the Christmas dinner and you don't take the second glass, it's because, deep down you're an athlete. And of course, as a founder, you can still take that second glass of wine, but you should still have that reflex that, when you see something, you can immediately relate it to what it is that you're probably trying to solve, and you can learn every day. So I think it starts there. It's like, if this is your dream and this is what you really want to do, then get after it, because just right there, you have that edge. If you can be something like truly every day, every week, then that over time is such an advantage compared to someone who just does it because it's the cool thing to do and they're thinking about it when they have to think about it, in a way. So I think the competitive edge you get when you do something that you're really passionate about, it's over time, it's a big factor. And then, of course, the trick is to try to gather a team around you that feels the same way about it. But if you're truly like that, I think you connect with people that feel the same way, and then that's your starting point for building an awesome team.
Excellent. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining and sharing your insights and experiences. And obviously, all the best up to Norway.
Thank you very much. All the best to you, Klaus, and hopefully I'll see you around somewhere.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.